So I've applied for absolutely hundreds of roles.
It's been soul destroying.
CV, emails, a bunch of dumb questions. 20, 30.
Over 100 roles.
Give or take 20 to 24.
40 to 50 minutes.
30 minutes to 1 hour.
It's very repetitive, same old, same old.
Hours and hours, 2 to 3 hours per role.
I'm still waiting to this day, so that's more than 3 weeks already.
Sometimes you do, and it's just, unfortunately, you're not being considered for this role, but please check our website.
Never. None.
It's pretty brutal out there, especially now when there are so many people looking for jobs. And whilst all of us watching this video are people that apply for a job as part of our career and building our career, for many people applying for a job is the difference between food on the table for their family or not. And if you want the best people to really represent your brand, if you're hiring in retail and customer service, you want them to really connect with what matters to you and connect with your brand. And surely that starts right from the very beginning, your candidate experience. So how do you make that a really human experience? How do you make that something that's fulfilling, that's rewarding, that's dignifying, that's humanizing? That's what I'm here to share with you today. And I'm Barb, I'm the CEO of PredictiveHire. Okay, so everyone knows who this person is. And the first aspect of our technology that we think is really helpful to you is everyone gets an interview. And that means that you're never missing out on talent. You don't have to close the doors on your job applications, and you can find the best talent for your roles. The other aspect of it, and I'm really passionate about this, it's very much why we built the technology like this, is we all know that inclusion starts with the way you hire. Now, these are 3 mock-ups. These are our wannabe Wish clients, some brands that you would recognize. But imagine if their first engagement with your brand is on a mobile phone. About 90% of people who complete our first interview do so on a mobile phone, because that's how we all live today. And what they see is something that's branded to you, that's really experiential, that talks to them in words that they understand. It's only 5 free text questions. So it's not 150 multi-choice. It's really relatable questions like this that you would ask in an interview. And it only takes the candidate about 20 minutes. So it's incredibly efficient. It's the only thing they need to do in order to be considered for one of these roles. And it's not timed, which means you take away all the pressure. And instead of having people receive messages like this, where they're really standardized, kind of nothingness really, like at the end of the day, most of us are ghosting candidates. Instead, what we enable through our science is the ability to give every single candidate, whether it's 1,000 or 1 million or 10 million, personalized feedback within a few minutes of them applying. So it's the end of ghosting. This is the kind of feedback that we get from candidates every day, because we ask candidates, what do they think? They share with us how this feedback has impacted on them. And it's quite extraordinary what candidates say. They can't believe how accurate it is, and they can't believe how much we've been able to discover from just 5 questions. We also get funny comments like this. People share it with their friends and family and comment about how accurate it is. The other aspect of this technology that we're really proud of is that it's blind. It's blind chat. It doesn't know anything about you. It doesn't know your age, your race, your gender. And so the ability to feel really safe and be given a fair go is really critical and important, especially at this time. What does this do for candidates? So we ask them, does this make a difference to you? And by the way, I'll show you a little bit later how you get to read all of their feedback comments. It makes them more confident, it makes them more self-aware, and it certainly makes them more likely to recommend you as an employer of choice. We're also starting to see on Glassdoor for our clients, people sharing feedback even when they're rejected. Imagine that, the rejected candidates love the experience. So what we offer is technology that does all your interviews for you. It's technology that we've invented that is being used by a lot of big enterprises around the world, including the Qantas Group. But more importantly, the recruitment team can get to the qualified shortlist super fast. So what about you, the recruiter? What do you get out of this? So here's how it works for the recruiter. This is our platform, but normally our clients are integrated into their own system. Is you would go in, and obviously if it's integrated, you don't see any names at all. So it's truly blind. And you see scores. Everyone is scored out of 100. It's pretty simple. And when you see the traffic lights here, you know that green is typically someone who's a strong match. It means they're in the top 40th percentile. but you obviously often want to know more about a candidate. So what you do is you click on this little light bulb and it takes you to Talent Insights, one of our other products, because we know that it takes a big step to really just trust a number. You want to look behind the number. You can see where the candidate sits in the candidate pool, where they are in market, because you want to make sure that you're looking at the best of the bunch in front of you, but you're also looking at the best in market. And we believe in transparency because that's how you build trust both with your candidates and with your organization. So every comment that's made by the candidate is viewable, but more importantly, their responses to that first interview are. And you can read them, and this is going to give you a lot more insight into who the candidate is, what motivates them, than reading a CV. We also give you data-driven interview questions because we know you're often going to do an interview and we want to make sure that you focus on what really matters for that candidate. Smart interviewing. You then go a little bit further and you start to see, well, where does the candidate sit on communication skills? And we're able to reveal both their English proficiency and fluency. You also get to see their traits, which is really important, and a summary of their personality here, and you can pass that on and share it with your hiring manager. So I've shown you the first interview for candidates, then for recruiters. I've taken you through Talent Insights, and now let's have a look at Discover Insights. These are data insights for your head of talent acquisition, your CHRO, or your chief people officer. Inclusivity starts with your hiring process. This dashboard helps you measure diversity and inclusion through your recruitment pipeline, from the talent pool that you start with to your hired pool. And we all love data here, but what we want to give you is data that's really meaningful, that can help you. So what you see here is I'm showing you aggregated for our customers, but you can look at this obviously for your organization. You can look at it at a geographic level, as well as at a role family level. As you go through here, you see things that are pretty obvious you'd expect to see, like the number of applicants hired, what your yield is, which is a great measure of whether or not efficiency makes sense for you. You see candidate feedback, how long it takes them. We're also able to track plagiarism, which is pretty smart. And you can see here the rate is actually quite low. We don't make a decision, by the way, if someone does choose to plagiarize, say, an answer from the internet, but we flag it for you in the system. You can also see things like candidate pool quality by gender, as well as hiring by gender, the time saved, and see where all of your candidates are coming from. So one of the really powerful things about using technology to do your screening is the ability to really ensure that that shortlist mirrors the diversity of your starting point, of your applicant pool. What you see here is actual data from across about 600,000 candidates. Now, we don't know race or gender when people apply for a job, but we're able to extract that from a name using another algorithm. And what you see here is the gender breakdown's pretty even, and the ethnic alignment is not that different to what you would expect to see in the market. When you then start to look at, okay, where do you end up after the technology has done the screening? And you can see on the right here, it's actually pretty similar on gender to the starting point, as well as on ethnicity. And the reason why is three things. First, because PredictiveHire AI is blind. That doesn't mean we don't test for bias. We obviously still need to test for bias. And if we find bias, which sometimes we do in the application of the assessment, we can de-bias the algorithms. That isn't something that you can do with humans. And it's something that we think is so important that we even put out our own standard for how we self-assess and self-regulate our AI to the marketplace so that all vendors, and you especially, can make informed decisions and ask the right questions. And we believe that there are actually a couple of things that are really important to look at in that. One is on the left-hand side, whether the technology itself is fair. And on the right, can you truly trust this organization? Can you truly trust this technology? I'd like to introduce you to Michael Eisenberg. Michael is the Group Head of Talent Acquisition at the Qantas Group, one of the most trusted consumer brands in the world. As one of our long-standing customers, this is what Michael has to say about why he switched. The process is far less daunting than video. It's mobile enabled and it empowers them to learn from the experience. And that's it. Hiring with heart is easy with PredictiveHire. It's easy for applicants to use. It gives you great insights as to why you'll be hiring the best people for your brand. And most importantly, it's about time. The time you get back and time for candidates to feel better about your hiring process and your brand.